Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm just going to use another analogy. It's quite relevant to the modern age because a lot of people are interested in being fit. If we want to be great athletes, then we need to train. And for that you need a lot of time and dedication. And if you ask a great athlete how many hours in a day you spend training, they won't say the minimum. They'll say as much as I can physically get away with and rest. One of the things that is essential is that you must have discipline and you must have some kind of training regime that you stick to. So when we go to the gym and we see all the people around us that are big and fit and healthy, and we think, well, I want to be like that. And you say, well, how did you do it? And they say, well, you know, I followed this training plan and this is what I would do. And because you can see that person physically doing it and you can see the result of that on their body, you can say, wow, you know, if I follow it, I can do it too. When it comes to spirituality, and many times it's not so visible. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but you can't really tell how somebody is unless you look at their actions and spend a lot of time with them. When you spend a lot of time with them and you realize that person intuitively stays away from their anger, their lust, their pride, their attachment, and you see how they behave. For example, in the Sikh faith, we have a lot of heroes. They effectively provide us with an example of what can be achieved if somebody follows a Sikh way of life. This fearlessness and this amazing bravery and this kind of detachment from life and the amazing spirituality of life. We've had some great saints in this century and even previous centuries that people still to this day try to learn from. We need to eat properly if we're going to get fit. And so in many ways, if you take your soul as also trying to become fit and healthy and strong, but in spirituality, you need to feed that soul properly. And our daily action, things like seva, these are all foods, good khrak, as they would say in Punjabi, for your soul. And we need to provide the soul with that. You also need to train. When you sit down and you sing kirtan or you do simran or you do your part, that's the training. That's where you actually are putting the hard work in. And so for Sikhs, we need to do a lot of part and sing a lot of kirtan and do a lot of simran if we want to progress spiritually. One of the things that anybody who's training would tell you is that on top of eating the right things and training, you also need to cut out some of the bad things that are not going to be good for you. And those bad things in Sikhi would be quite specifically your panchor. So your kam, your krodh, your lobh, moh, ahankar. They effectively are like, you know, chocolate and alcohol to the fitness regime. Not very good for you at all. Kam being your lust, krodh being your anger, your lobh is your amount of your greed, your moh is your attachment, and your ahankar is your pride. They hinder you. They hinder you because what you're trying to do is progress to the one. You want to get to a state of connecting to the divine, and we don't want to be connecting to this world because although it's real and we have to live within it, it's also not our end aim. Our end aim is our creator. And really, added to that, kind of making up all those 5 things really is your sense, your home, your sense of separateness from the divine. And really meditation and all these things, they help to first control those 5, but then attack this big thing, which is the biggest disease you have, effectively, which is your sense of separateness from the divine. One thing that's also essential is to have the equipment in order to do the training. Now by that, I specifically mean Gurbani and the Gurmukhi alphabet and understanding Gurbani. I'm not saying it's not possible outside, but it's much easier within the Sikhi way of thinking to actually be able to read Gurbani yourself and not be reliant upon Romanizations and other things. So understanding Gurbani and be able to read Gurmukhi is effectively the tools, the best. On top of all these things, if you want to progress very quickly, people take things like protein shakes. A good way to understand that would be some of the beneficial things that Guru always recommends. And those would be 2 things really. Hanging out with holy people, so the Sadh Sangat, a very good way to progress because you're basically leeching off all these great people and you keep their Sangat and they will inspire you to be better. So if you want to be a great weightlifter or you want to be a great athlete, go and hang out with great athletes and they will inspire you to do better and you will learn more from them. So if you can spend more time hanging out with people that are spiritual and holy, then you're going to progress. And within Sikhi, one other thing that can help to progress you spiritually, it's no guarantee, but it will help, but you have to stick to its rules, is Amrit. So taking Khande Bate the Amrit from the Panj Pyare, the analogy that I was given in the old days when they used to dig a well, they used to put water into the well once it was all dug up, and that water would seep down and then it would join with the water underneath, and that would start the water coming up, you see. And Amrit is a bit like that. You're trying to progress spiritually, you're doing all the right things, but you want to move on. By taking Amrit, which is, Guru's blessing effectively, you are going to kickstart that process a lot quicker. One thing that is very clear from fitness, which is obvious to anybody who even attempts to look at fitness, is that you can't expect on day one to walk in and do a little bit of exercise and get a six-pack. And you can't expect on day one to walk in, pick up really heavy weight and be able to do like 6 reps of it. It just doesn't work that way. We understand that there's a science to it and there's a way of building up. So in the same way, when we go to Gurdwara, Sadh Sangat or a Kirtan program, if we haven't done some of the things that that Guru Sahib is teaching us about how our body connects, how a science of doing all the right things in order to connect, then we can't expect straight away to start connecting. We have to basically build up to it. Now some people might be the exception to the rule. They might connect straight away. The reason for that may not be evident to us. We can only conjecture upon that. For example, that person in their previous life may have done loads of good things. In this life, we just had to experience something else first, and then suddenly, boom, they do some, and that was their destiny, and it was meant to happen. So as Sikhs, we say hukum, we accept the hukum. However, our job as a Sikh is not to look at other people really, it's to look at ourselves, look inwards and say, how can I develop myself? Because this science is for you. Somebody might naturally be very fit and lean and healthy, have a better metabolism. You are you in what works for you. So Guru Sahib is telling us how to develop ourselves, and the analogy of fitness applies. We can't expect great results if we don't put in the effort. If I've said anything in here that's not struck the right note for you, my apologies for that. It's just an analogy. It's not the gospel of Sikhi. The gospel of Sikhi is in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.